right, guys, welcome back. We have a ton to get into, so this may be a longer one. We'll just go through a lot of the topics, really in no particular order. But let's start off here talking about some more info about the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition. We have some new news about it for the first time in a while, it seems, where previously it was every single day, especially when the court case was going on with the FTC. But we now have Xbox currently arguing to the UK regulators about their case for the Xbox Activision Blizzard acquisition, and they want the UK to consider the current deals that they have made. We know right now they are talking to the UK. The appeal has been put on hold, and it seems like they are going to be coming to some sort of decision, some sort of agreement to get this deal approved in the UK by the CMA. And one of the major things that could potentially happen is Microsoft is going to be offering a brand new agreement where the UK will look at this and they'll do their same scrutiny and decide whether it is good enough to satisfy them and approve the deal itself. Now, Microsoft has recently submitted some more documents, and it's called a new change of circumstances document to the CMA in the UK, arguing for its case for its proposed Activision Blizzard deal to be reconsidered for approval. So currently, without a brand new agreement or whatever, just to consider the stuff that they currently have out there in terms of deals with Sony, in terms of deals with cloud gaming like NVIDIA GeForce Now, all of that type of stuff. Specifically, there's a bunch of things here in this document. Most of it is redacted. We don't really learn anything new from this other than the fact that they are arguing to the UK regulator that they should take into account consideration for its cloud gaming deals and the EU monitoring of them. That was one of the main things when it came to Activision Blizzard, was how are these deals going to be enforced? And we know with the EU, they came to an agreement where they would monitor them. They would go back if there's something that they weren't delivering on and have to solve the issues that were popping up. Now, since then, the biggest thing that was signed was the Call of Duty agreement with Sony. And there's also fresh information that came out of the FTC case. So they're going to the CMA right now, Xbox is, and they're telling the CMA that they should be accepting this deal based off of all the things that have transpired since then. In particular, I mean, that Sony 10-year deal is going to make a big difference because previously they hadn't signed the deal. And we know this thing with the Sony deal, it seems like PlayStation, Jim Ryan actually got PlayStation gamers a worse deal, because previous to what they signed, Phil Spencer had offered 10 years for the entire Activision Blizzard catalog. Now, this is specifically what it says in these documents. They're saying here that the fresh materials from the FTC case, as well as the Call of Duty agreement, undermines the final report's conclusion, specifically talking about what the CMA's conclusion came to. So they're hoping that they will just look at this, reassess, and then approve this deal. But they're still going to potentially be offering a new agreement. So it says here, we also still don't have details if Microsoft's final proposal for restructure its Activision deal either, but the CMA is looking for comments from Microsoft's rivals by August 4th and will accept final undertakings or make a final order by August 29th. So we'll see what happens going forward. I have a feeling that the CMA, based on everything that is going on, they are the last regulators standing here trying to block this deal. They look really dumb, to be completely honest. They look like idiots right now, and I'm sure that they know that. They probably don't want to look any more dumb. So there could be a chance here that they just look at Sony signing the 10-year deal, even them conceding and saying, okay, we are going to go ahead and approve this deal in the UK. But let's jump over here. Let's talk about another quick thing here. It's not a huge piece of news, but if you're somebody who has been using the Xbox app on Windows, the companion app, I used to use that actually a lot. I thought it was great. It looks like they are going to be discontinuing this. They're going to be shutting it down. This is from Tom Moore, and it says Microsoft is retiring the Xbox companion app for Windows on August 28th. There's currently no way to access your Xbox DVR cloud clips in the main Xbox app, and Microsoft has been working on a web-based version, so hopefully that's coming soon. So they've announced this July 28th. August 28th is when they're going to be shutting it down. So basically 1 month, 28 days, you're not going to be able to use this anymore. You might as well just stop using it now. I thought it was cool when it first came out, but now it's being replaced obviously by, like they say here, a web-based version. But at the same time, there is just the Xbox Game Pass app where you go in there, you get your games, you can see your friends list, you can do all the same stuff from there. So that's probably why they're discontinuing it. And hopefully on top of the web-based version, maybe there will be a better solution that does come out in the future, or they keep iterating on the current Xbox Game Pass app. Now they're doing another cool thing here, Xbox, and that is, as we know with the Xbox controllers, ergonomically the best controller out there. I love it. There's nothing that has come close to the ergonomics of it and the feel in my hands, but it has come with a lot of issues. And it's not just Xbox controllers, it's essentially every controller out there, such as things like stick drift. There's certain things wrong with the series controller. It's happened to me, and that is the bumpers. I think that's a really big issue actually when it comes to the series controller. The bumpers, or the Elite series controller, the bumpers not working. But what they're doing here, I think, is a great idea, especially if you have a controller that is out of warranty. It will save you a lot of money in case you wanted to go out and just buy a brand new controller. They are now going to be offering first-party repair kits, instructions, and videos on how to fix the Elite Series 2 Xbox gamepads. And that is definitely needed, but it would be even better if this just wasn't an issue. And I'm hoping that the next iteration of the Elite Series controller isn't going to have these issues. Like I said, I've had a bumper issue with my Halo Infinite Elite Series controller, which is extremely frustrating. But here is what it is. It says Microsoft has started selling controller parts on its online store. Owners of both the Xbox Elite Series 2 wireless controller and the standard Xbox wireless controller can head to the Microsoft store right now to buy replacement boards, sticks, buttons, covers, and more. And if your shoulder buttons are broken or your sticks are drifting, it means you don't have to rely on third-party sources for parts and directions to attempt a repair that could be much cheaper than replacing the controller that can cost $60 all the way up to $180. Now, what are these repair kits going to cost? It's going to range from $24 for the button sets to $60 for the replacement PCBA and motor assembly. Obviously, a lot more stuff in there. And they say prices are lower for the standard controller, starting at $20 for the controller's top case and going up to $35 for the PCBA and vibration motors. And the replacement top cases are available in black and white variants, as are the buttons. There's no other of the fluorescent colors yet. So if you do have these issues, I think this is a good solution to offer. However, there are a lot of third-party solutions out there probably for cheaper with cooler colors and LEDs stuff. Like I have an Xbox Series controller that I modded with LEDs that you can change the color of. You can have a rotating colors, you can have it flashing, and it looks really good, and it feels essentially the exact same as a first party Xbox controller. Now, this was presented by Brad Rossetti, who is the Xbox Insider Program Lead, and apparently this has been live for about a week. So if you are looking to replace your controller, you can go ahead and do that. There is mention here of the PlayStation 5 DualSense Edge or whatever it is, the Pro controller that PlayStation has, which they have a cool feature in there, which is actually being able to just replace these thumbsticks if they break. I hope going forward that all of the stick drift stuff gets worked out and that we start getting the Hall effect joysticks in upcoming iterations of the Xbox controller, because the stick drift this generation across all of the consoles, across everything, and if you remember how bad it was with the Nintendo Switch, it's just kind of unacceptable, especially with the price of these controllers now. Now let's jump over here. As we know, handheld PC gaming, it's getting bigger and bigger. More companies are trying to get into it. I talked about this a little bit with my video talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 leak that is now seeming more and more real. I think the Nintendo Switch really brought back handheld gaming from a place where it used to be really popular and then it wasn't so much popular, and the Switch revitalized it all. And without that, we may not be getting as much of these handheld gaming PCs that are great, especially if you're an Xbox ecosystem and you get access to Xbox Game Pass. We've seen that the Asus ROG Ally. We have the Steam Deck, which is what I have, and I think it's great. And now we have some more info here about Lenovo, that they're going to be making their own PC gaming handheld with the Legion branding. So it says here, according to an exclusive report published by Windows Central, it seems that another name is entering the fray, Lenovo. In the write-up, it was revealed that Lenovo is looking to enter the handheld PC gaming market with a Lenovo Legion Go, an all-new device with an 8-inch screen and the AMD Phoenix processor. So, I mean, that's really all we know about this. I feel like if this is true, we'll be getting an announcement sometime soon. One of the things that we can take away from this is that it probably is going to have Windows 11. It's probably going to be something similar to the Asus ROG Ally and have an Xbox Game Pass dedication to it, which I think is a great thing. You're going to see a lot more of these handheld gaming PCs coming out and seeing that they can integrate with Game Pass, maybe make a deal with Xbox, all of that type of stuff. The same thing that Asus did. And I'm sure now numbers are coming in about how successful that has been from both the Xbox perspective and from the PC perspective. So pretty cool stuff there. We'll see what this one, how it stacks up to the Asus ROG Ally. Right now, I have my Steam Deck. I really enjoy it. I didn't really feel the need to have to upgrade yet to the Asus ROG Ally because I know there's going to be a lot more iterations of these PC gaming handhelds. So maybe in another year or so, I will get a more powerful device. And I think there'll be a lot more options. And I think that's a great way to look at it when you're going forward with these PC gaming handhelds. They're selling well. People want them. The demand is there. We're going to see a lot more competition enter into this realm, and there's going to be a lot more choice for people to choose from and get AAA gaming on the go. It's pretty impressive, even on the Steam Deck, which is the lower powered compared to the ROG Ally. Playing a big AAA game on the go in your hands is something that you kind of dreamed of as a kid. Growing up, you play things like the GBA, which was probably my favorite handheld of all time. And these games were a ton of fun, and I thought they were great. And then you jumped over to something like the Nintendo 3DS, and you saw like the 3D polygons. Then you saw the PSP, where you were seeing like PS2 games, and the PS Vita, which you were seeing closer to like a PS3 style graphics. And now we're at the point where we are literally at the cutting edge of AAA games that are going to be in our hands on the go, which is pretty cool to see. Now let's jump over here. We talked about this yesterday. Larian Studios, and they are the ones developing Baldur's Gate 3, which is a huge game coming out this year. It's going to go head to head with Starfield for a lot of people, and maybe some of that is going to be fueled by console wars, because obviously this is coming onto PS5 and Starfield isn't coming onto PS5. They're both big RPGs, and you're going to have PlayStation fanboys trying to downplay Starfield if it's as great as we think it's going to be and point towards Baldur's Gate 3, but that's kind of a topic for a different day. One of the things we do know with Baldur's Gate 3 is the whole thing with the Xbox Series S and them having to not put out an official release date for Xbox because of the Xbox Series S. We talked about this the other day in the video, and it's been debunked. It has nothing to do with the Series S holding back the development of the game. They actually came out and said that, and they clarified this further, replying here to Hasdor Gaming. And this is from Very AFK1, the people from Larian, saying, "Hello, friend. We've said many times in the past that the issue is getting split screen working on the Series S, which is taking more time, but it is in progress. This is a huge technical hurdle, but we are unable to release the game on the ecosystem without this feature. Far from being exclusive, we have no exclusivity deal that prevents us from launching on Xbox. The issue is a technical hurdle. We cannot remove the split screen feature because we are obliged to launch with feature parity, and so continue to try and make that work. We have quite a few engineers working very hard to do what no other RPG of this scale has achieved: seamless drop-in, drop-out co-op on Series S. We hope to have an update by the end of the year." So there it is, end of the year. That means that this game for Xbox, if you can read into that, is that it's not even going to be releasing on Xbox until 2024 because of this split screen thing that is going on. And one of the biggest things here is that they recognize it's them not having the resources to be able to figure this stuff out, which is why I think maybe this is time for Xbox to send some of their devs over there and try to get this game released as close to as possible to the official release date for Baldur's Gate 3. But maybe Xbox is looking at this and thinking, hey, we got Starfield. Maybe we don't want to take away from Starfield. Maybe if this does come out, because it does come out in September, it comes out in August for PC and then September for PlayStation 5. If it comes out at the same time as the PlayStation 5, it may take some people away from jumping to Starfield, and maybe they just don't care about that. I don't know, but Larian's got to figure this out. It comes down to resources. It comes down to the developers not being able to figure it out in time. Because, you look at Baldur's Gate 3, and to be completely honest, it doesn't look like it's a game that is that taxing. And I could be completely off base on this, but it is top down. It has graphics that aren't blowing people away. It doesn't seem like. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can get it figured out, and like I said, maybe Xbox sends over their advanced technology team or whatever they're called to go over there and get it figured out so it can launch near the same time as the PS5 launch. Now let's talk about this one. This is an interesting article here, and it has to do with Pikmin 4. As we know, when it comes to the first party sales of games, PlayStation loves to tout their numbers, But Nintendo always blows PlayStation out of the water, and it's not even close. You think about like Pokemon with their announcement directly after God of War and how they beat God of War significantly with like the 10 million sales, something like that. And now we have Pikmin 4 here that is now beating Final Fantasy 16. It says here, Pikmin 4 outsells Final Fantasy 16 in just 1 week in Japan. Now, specifically, Pikmin 4 sold 401,853 copies. Final Fantasy 16 has a total of 401,376. So they've already beaten it within 1 week. And I mean, the whole Final Fantasy 16 thing has been a discussion, as Square Enix came out and said that they were satisfied with the sales, with the attachment rate, because of the amount of PS5s out there and the fact that they had a relatively high attachment rate. I think it was at like 7% or something, which I thought was decent, but it's still lower than the general attachment rate you see from first party PlayStation games, even though Square Enix wasn't first part, or Final Fantasy isn't first party, but it's still exclusive to PlayStation 5. But Square Enix was good with it, so you can't really argue against the company coming out publicly and saying that they were happy with the sales. Now, Pikmin 4 here, I mean, it is a much smaller franchise, I would say, than the Final Fantasy series, but it has a couple of things going for it, which is probably why it did sell better than Final Fantasy 16. First of all, Nintendo Switch. It's the most popular console there. They say it's the most widely purchased console in Japan, making the potential user base of Pikmin 4 magnitudes greater than Final Fantasy 16. I think it's like 30 million to about 3 million or something like that. I actually have VG charts up here. You look at the Switch in Japan, it's 29.82 million. And then you go down to the PlayStation 5 in Japan, it's about 3.85 million. So there is obviously a much bigger base of gamers to choose from. The other thing, it's cheaper. It's 5,980 yen versus 9,000 yen. But I think the biggest thing of all that this is a telltale sign of is that Final Fantasy 16 was definitely geared towards a more Western audience with the combat and everything, and even the story and stuff like that. So I think at the end of the day, I wonder if Square Enix is looking at this, kind of reevaluating their take and potentially going to go back to the older Final Fantasy. They've come up publicly and said they are very happy with the sales, which would make you think going forward it's going to be more of that hack and slash combat, which I'm cool with because I like Devil May Cry and I like the combat that was in Final Fantasy 16. But maybe they're also looking at this and thinking, how are they going to be able to compete with Nintendo games going forward if they're going to get completely destroyed like this right away by Pikmin? I mean, Pikmin, yeah, it's a well-known franchise, but comparatively to Final Fantasy 16, unless I'm missing something here, I don't think it's anywhere close in terms of notoriety. So Pikmin is doing great. Nintendo always does very well with their first-party content, really, no matter what they put out. It's seemingly kind of always overshadowing success from PS5 exclusives that are launched, and the companies come out and celebrate the numbers for the PS5 sales. Let's go over here. Let's look at Gamescom, because Gamescom is coming up at the end of August, and on August 23rd to August 27th. And generally it's like a decent show, but there isn't anything really new showing off that gets you talking and excited. Most of it is stuff that we have seen in the past, but this year Gamescom is looking to be pretty big for Xbox in particular. And what does that really mean? Well, it means that in terms of playable games, which means games that we are anticipating coming out on Xbox that we're going to most likely be able to see here, it will include Forza Motorsport that's coming out in October. I can't wait to see that. Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl. So that's what I think a lot of people are wondering. Is this game going to be coming out anytime soon with everything that is going on? And a lot of people are excited to see it. We did see it, I think it was 2 years ago, and it looked absolutely incredible. So seeing more gameplay for that is something I really, really am interested in. Towerborn, which was that side-scrolling RPG that was announced at the Xbox Showcase, looks like a ton of fun. Definitely up my alley in terms of the gameplay and the graphics and stuff like that. And we're going to be seeing more of that at Gamescom. Hopefully these are deeper dive gameplay videos that we get to just kind of get into all of the mechanics on what we can expect from these games. They say here, with these games being playable to attendees, we should expect to hear more details on each of the games during the event. And Gamescom Opening Night Live is one of the most likely places for such announcements, which promises numerous world premieres and exciting announcements. So there you go. There will be a bunch of new stuff that is announced and that we're going to be able to talk about. And that's going to be happening on Gamescom Opening Night live. All right, let's jump over here. Let's talk about Kojima. As we know, Kojima is working on an exclusive Xbox game. One of the major reasons he wants to work with Xbox is because of their technology that is going to allow him to make something that really can meet his creative vision. And we don't officially know what the game is yet. We know the game is coming. We don't have a name or nothing along those lines. But now we have a new picture here that Kojima tweeted out or X'd out. Still don't know what to call this thing, with the Microsoft marketing team all at Kojima Productions. So it's starting. Whatever Kojima is working on with Xbox is seemingly going to be announced soon at the very least. If you're meeting with the marketing team, that to me tells me they are putting together their plan to build the hype for this game. Maybe it's even closer to release than we think, because if they're going to start marketing the game, they're going to have a closer time frame for a release date. They're going to probably have to have trailers, all of that type of stuff. And maybe at Tokyo Game Show this year is where we finally see what Kojima is working on. I think that would be a great move by Xbox. You come out onto the show and you announce, you show off Kojima's game. It will just push the platform forward in Japan. People will be excited for it. You announce that it's coming onto Game Pass. You announce it's coming into Xbox Cloud Gaming, and show off all the ways that you're actually going to be able to play this game. I think that'd be a very, very smart move. So we'll see, but pretty cool here that he did tweet this picture, and this always causes a ruffle in the console wars, as we know. You think about Kojima and generally you think about PlayStation. I mean, that's really where he's made his mark the most. And you think about things like Death Stranding, where they have the exclusivity there. Well, they did have the exclusivity there, as it did actually release on Xbox Game Pass for PC. But all that type of stuff, Kojima coming over to Xbox, I think was a huge moment for the Xbox platform, and a huge moment for Phil Spencer, as his work to try to grow in Japan is something he said he was going to dedicate himself to at the beginning of this generation, is obviously working and obviously coming to fruition with Kojima, with the Atlas stuff, with the Square Enix of Final Fantasy 14. Now let's jump over here. Let's talk about a huge rumor that did get leaked. Apparently, we don't have any official confirmation about this, so I guess you could still take this with a grain of salt, but there is a new leak suggesting that Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion is getting a remake. It was screenshotted and reported by Xfire, and the leak states that several projects are in the works at the studio. They say, typically, we wouldn't report on rumors posted on the Reddit page without any independent verification. However, a mod of Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit suggested that they verified proof that the leaker was indeed a former employee of Virtuous Games. And here's the rumor. There's a lot of info here, actually. It says here that the game is going to be running in both Unreal Engine 5 and Oblivion could release by the end of 2024 to early 2025. No details on what platforms the game will release on, but I mean, you can take a wild guess. It's probably going to be releasing exclusively on the Xbox ecosystem. And there are other games that are actually leaked that Virtuous Games is working on. Project Alter, which is Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. Project Massive, which is AAA title described as Monster Hunter X, or Monster Hunter mixed with Shadow of Colossus. Project Cobra, which is the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. Project Ominous, which is described as a narrative climbing game, and a new DLC expansion for New Worlds. So we'll see. I mean, Oblivion is an incredible game. Came out in 2006 on the Xbox 360, and it's really cool that they're making a remake. I'm not going to sit here and say and scoff at this. I love to see this game remade. I would love to play it in a remade fashion, kind of just remind myself of the greatness of it. But if I had to choose one to be remade, it probably would be Morrowind, just for the nostalgia of that game. And obviously it's older, releasing on the OG Xbox. It was a huge thing that was an exclusive Xbox RPG. And the biggest thing with Morrowind for me wasn't even playing it initially. I mean, I did eventually play it, but it wasn't playing it initially because I didn't have an OG Xbox when that game was out. But I remember going to my friend's house and watching them and seeing them play it on the Xbox and being blown away of an RPG like that on a console that I really hadn't experienced or played previous to seeing Morrowind. So I would love to see that game get remade, and maybe it will at some point, especially if this Oblivion remake goes well, which it obviously will. There's so many fans out there for it, but we'll see. This may not be true, but I mean, it seems more and more likely that this is a true rumor. This is being written here and reported by Tom Henderson. So at the end of the day, he's been right on a lot of stuff. And coming into Xbox Game Pass, this game is going to do very, very well. But that's it for me, guys. I will end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, help this channel grow, and I will catch you guys in the next video.
We'll be right back.